we were just talking, weren't we, at the thing about me having come from the corporate world into the artistic world, and you coming from that choreography, dance world and artistic world now into the corporate world. It's funny, isn't it, that we've had that kind of switch?
A directly opposite journey,
Yeah.
but I guess at the core of it, and what you and I know about each other, is we come from the same place. It's about, I don't know, it's about the fullness of life and being a fully integrated human being, and giving life all you've got, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been wonderful to take that journey. And I was thinking, and I've been thinking last night, that my whole life has been about transition. I've always been transitioning, and and actually that is the point of change, isn't it? That we keep transitioning into different levels of our own discoveries and our own greatness. And and you must find that with what you're doing now, like you've got this book, and which we'll be talking about in a minute, but it's just such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing.
Well, that's it. And I think, as well as transition, I often think about evolution, like not only our own personal evolution, but holding the possibility that we really can evolve, and evolve faster than Darwin would have us believe, into better humans, where we're much better at not overprotecting our boundaries, and not bombing big countries, not bombing small countries, and being able to live a much more, really live a harmonious life.
That harmonious life. It's 9:01, and I always start at 9:01. So, hi, I'm Nadine Benjamin. I am the Intuitive Verdi Soprano. I am a certified high performance coach, a certified NLP mind coach, and a theta healer. But I'm also a professional opera singer, singing internationally all over the world. So I am in 12-week lockdown, or 12 weeks safe at home. And that safe at home means that I cannot leave my house at all. So what I have done is, I thought I would share some of my coaching skills, and also all the wonderful people that I've met along my journey, and they shared their brilliance with you, because I love connecting, celebrating and championing people. And today we have Claire Dale. Claire Dale is a leading exponent of physical intelligence and co-author of award-winning book, also by the same name, Physical Intelligence. Claire consults, coaches and trains people, professionals from all walks of life, to help them achieve their peak performance through physical intelligence. Now, as I always say, neither of us are doctors or medical professionals or psychiatrists in that way. So if you do need anything like that, please go and seek it now. We encourage it. It will empower you. If you need the Samaritans, or you need to ask for help in any way, please do reach out to the right people. Hey Claire, it's so lovely to see you.
I'm so excited. My toes are tapping, and with excitement about this.
She's in physical intelligence already. I love it. Oh, morning, Susan. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. So tell us, we'd love to know a little bit more about you, like where you started, and, what your background has been.
Well, for many years, I ran my own contemporary dance company, 15 years, in fact, touring internationally, dance pieces made from my own creative resources, but bringing together incredible teams of musicians, dancers, of course, designers, and creating work that had some kind of narrative, zeitgeist. It was all about the body, of course, and how, my mission really is about how under prioritized the body has been for too many people for too long. We actually, despite the fact that there's been a lot of work on mind-body connection over the last 20, 30 years, there's still a sense in which we sort of believe that the body's separate from ourselves, and we underestimate it. So whereas, the body is an amazing set of connections. There are trillions of operations happening every second. And yet daily we look in the mirror And actually, some of our first thoughts are quite critical about how we are, who we are. And we have to work harder to go, this is amazing. We're in this incredibly intelligent body.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, Claire, that one of my biggest challenges has been um, moving my body on a daily basis. I mean, I've only just come to a point where I can move it every day through dance, because that's for me is where I wanted to be. But I know I've even shared that journey on Facebook, that struggle with exercising, that challenge with exercising and moving my body, because sometimes when I move my body, it brings up emotions that I wasn't expecting. So it's that kind of thing, you know.
Yes, I was. Somebody told me about a lovely quote that they found in the gym the other day, and it said, "Exercise is not a punishment for what you've eaten or who you are. It's a celebration of what you can do."
Oh, I love that! I love that! That's amazing.
But the sort of energy transition from sleeping or not doing something physical or sitting in front of the screen to getting out there and moving the body. For everybody, that's a transition. Everyone has a little bit of laziness because it's a transition of state. You have to change your own state. But I think you have to think about it as, yes, there's going to be some effort, but alongside that, there are these incredible rewards. And for us, we in physical intelligence, we look at life through the chemistry, a framework of chemicals. And that's your dopamine function. There's got to be some sense of reward. I'm going to feel better afterwards. I'm going to feel good during, even if it hurts a bit, or even if I feel lazy before. So it's that sort of mastery of the self. And being able to not give the lazy bit or the fact that we're aging, and one day this body won't hold us anymore. Those really difficult things to face. We actually need to be, I think we need to be able to sort of transition through them, not give them too much weight, but know that they're there and it's part of life.
So when you danced, I mean, hi Martin, when you danced, what was the relationship that you had with your body? Because I find that really interesting. I'm sure the audience would find that really interesting as too.
Well, so early on, there was always this thing about was I conforming to the right shape of a dancer? So there was always that thing going on during my training. In fact, I once asked one of my tutors, "Am I thin enough yet?" And she said, "It's not about that, Claire. Your body is perfectly sort of in the realms of what people will want to look at, and we'll be able to communicate it through it. So forget that. Start dancing. Start getting into the meat of your body and have your flesh do that communicative work for you."
I love that
was brilliant.
You immediately started moving your body, and you're really directly mirroring to us how connected you are actually with your own body.
Well, we can all have that by tuning in, and in the book on physical intelligence, there are 80 techniques. And it's like a lifetime of work in that book. They all are based around 4 elements: strength, so that's mental, emotional, physical strength, flexibility, resilience, and endurance.
Do you think you could, I'm going to just show everybody the book, but could you go through each one of those kind of subject matters? Morning, Gabby, lovely to see you. So this is the book. I'll show you again at the end. It's Physical Intelligence, and it's with Claire Dow and Patricia Payton. And this is the book that Claire and Patricia have written, and this is what we're talking about right now. So if you could go through those 4 areas, that would be amazing.
Okay, so firstly, to say there are hundreds of chemicals racing through our bodies and brains at any one time. And most of us are at the mercy of that chemistry, really. But we can influence the balance of those chemicals. I mean, they have familiar names: testosterone, cortisol, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. These chemicals we know about. We can balance and rebalance the levels of those chemicals once we understand what they do and the circumstances that mean that we can create what we call the winning cocktail, right? Fun term, cocktail of chemicals. But sometimes the complexity of emotions, thoughts, physical sensations, there's just an overwhelm of data. So everyone needs a simple framework, right? So we've chosen the chemistry because it's like tides of chemicals that are emotions and thoughts, physical sensations moving together. So the 4 elements: strength. This is your confidence, risk tolerance, your ability to stand ground, to relax and deeply connect to the ground as you enter into what might be difficult decisions under pressure. Keeping a cool head, keeping calm but alive, enough arousal. You know, the cortisol, adrenaline chemistry is all about arousal, but we want to be at an optimal level rather than overtaken by it and making rash decisions. So there's a real sense of groundedness in the strength. The second one, flexibility, that's all about adapting to changing circumstances. And my goodness, aren't we doing that now? You with your 12 weeks of safe at home. And I mean, I've been going on the radio weekly on BBC Radio London with Robert Elms, talking about what we can do in this to be flexible in this incredible situation.
I love Robert. I love him.
Me too, Robert.
Great guy.
So adapting to changing circumstances, this is flexibility. Creating great relationships as we go through the hustle and bustle of life, and being creative and innovative. These are the things that surround flexibility. And we can't be flexible emotionally, mentally, physically, unless we've unlocked the physical parts, right? Because we're all a connected system. So next, resilience, that's your bounce back. Connected with your immune system and also your ability to create for yourself a realistically optimistic mindset. For those of you that like that sort of sense of abundance, that abundant mindset or a learning mindset, the minute you switch into that mindset, and I hope many of the listeners will have had that experience of noticing that you're going round and round in circular thinking, feeling that your energy is being drained away, that's a lack of resilience. And as soon as you switch your mind to an optimistic learning mindset, you know, wherever you go to get those thoughts into it, like it feels like it moves into a different part of your brain where you suddenly go, oh, there's the clarity.
Yes, it's funny, you know, because I have to do that. That's one of the first things, Claire, that I have to do before I move. I have to engage my mind. For me, that's what some people have to move to engage their mind, but I have to engage my mind first to move. I do that. Like, you know, I'm a high performance coach. So my thing is, what high performing, empowering questions am I going to ask myself to get my brain engaged, to get my body engaged? Yeah. And so as soon as I do that, and then my body goes, yeah, let's party, let's do something. And that's when I start dancing. And, you know, so I really identify with that. Really, really, really great suggestion.
I mean, I love that. And you know, you're really working between flexibility and resilience there as you ask the curious question, what questions can I ask myself? That's your flexibility. You're being creative and curious, and that gives you resilience.
Yes.
And there's so much to say about resilience, but it's a fascinating topic. And certainly over the years, you know, well, let me finish with endurance. Now I want to tell you a bit about the history.
Yes, please.
So finally, endurance, that is about your long game. Yes. And it's about steadfastly working towards some outcomes, believing in those outcomes, being able to visualize them. And work towards them and maintain and develop this evolution of your high performance over that long game.
Yes.
Now, each of these 4 elements have different chemistry. You know, for strength, we want the underlying DHEA, it's called. It's like it's a high performance chemical.
Wow.
It's a performance enhancer. Yes. And it's made in the adrenals, and actually the synthetic version is a banned substance for Olympic athletes, right? It's a powerful performance enhancer. And for all of those of you that do meditation or any kind of breathing technique where you regularly pace the breath, so it's a ratio of breathing, that is getting DHEA into your tanks.
Oh,
it's
how
a
incredible.
Fundamental hormone. And not many of us who are meditating doing this actually know that that's what's happening chemically. So that's a foundation for your stability and your strength. And from there, we can all make lots of testosterone. Even at my age, I can still make enough testosterone for me to be more risk tolerant than I would be if I was sort of sitting crunched down. And, you know, posture is very important for our DHEA and our testosterone, as well as breathing.
You say your age, you look fabulously young. You're not, you say even
I'm 57 now. I'm 57 now.
It's still fabulously young.
And I do. I mean, of course I'm aging. We all are. But I'm not going to look at that with regret in any way. I mean, I do feel, on most days, I feel probably about 35. And I do attribute it to the way I've been able, through coaching myself and having brilliant mentors myself earlier in my life, to resolve things and integrate things. So that's where I wanted to talk a little bit. So I grew up, talking about the body, I grew up there were 4 kids in our family, but my elder sister of 1, she was only 1 year older, was born with spina bifida. So quite severely disabled child. I came into the family a year later with my mum so grateful that I was in a sense whole, in the way that my sister Gillian, I don't think my mum felt Gillian was whole. You know, she had serious issues and was often in and out of hospital. And I remember one time Gillian was was in plaster up to her chest. This is a 4-year-old girl, laying out, you know, legs out, right from her toes, right up to her chest, laid out for 6 weeks. Stiff like that. I mean, I'm sure there are better ways of handling that condition now, but it's a memory of looking at a very challenged body and feeling slightly guilty that I was literally dancing from the bedroom to the bathroom I was dancing all the time. So there was a wonder in the dance, but there was also a sense of survivor's guilt, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but that's really interesting, that what you're saying there, because, you know, even though Gillian was in that space of challenge, she is whole.
Exactly. But my mum didn't see it that way, and I didn't see it that way, although of course, you know, part of us knew that, but it was just I think it was the difficulty and the stress. You know, Gillian was always, we're trying to get her to walk and she was always falling over and re-breaking her legs. And, you know, the amount of trauma early on that my mum had, I think that means that we grew up in a very happy, loving family. I mean, amazing, but with cortisol levels that were just that bit too high. So that means that our environment was a bit acidic in all of our bodies, a little bit toxic. And that means that we were slightly panicking about the things that were going on around us. And that's how it felt. So as soon as I realized what was happening, partway through my dance career, my choreography career, I began to dive into this physiology. You know, I did maths, biology, chemistry at school. I love biology. I just love it. So I dived into it, found out a lot more about this chemistry, and just stacked up my bedside reading with geeky science. And I've always been just looking and trying to make this framework of chemistry. It makes sense to me. And I know that through the book, which we've tried to make a very nice flowing read, I know we've had great feedback, that it's just makes sense to people and gives people a feeling of agency.
Yes. I mean, I'm only halfway through the book, Claire, I'm going to be honest. So I haven't finished it. So but I do love the fact that I can nip in at different things and identify. And I love the fact that you give me exercises that I can then try out then for myself to see how I can experience that in my own body, which is absolutely fabulous. So, you know, I mean, I would recommend anybody to get the book and read the book if they can, you know, but because I don't, it's talking about the body we always hear about it in terms as you were saying, as in diet, or the people being overweight or not being able to move. We always hear about the body mainly in a kind of negative way, but I think with the book, what you're challenging people to see is the body in a positive instrument of life that then supersedes us into like our own level of superheroine almost.
Exactly. And it is true that when you achieve something, I don't know about you, but I used to go, oh well, that of course, yes, I mean, okay, well, let's go move on to the next thing, and sort of slightly not celebrate it or not really register the achievement. But the book's been published into lots of different languages, and it arrived a few weeks ago in Russian. And I unpacked it, and I said to my husband, wow, it's in Russian. And I put it down and went on to something else. He said, have you done your winner pose? And have you done your lap of honor, Claire? Because you need that if you're going to achieve off the back of this one achievement, achieve more. And he's right. So we write about it in the book. You get your arms in the air like you've scored that goal. So when something good happens today, when something drops into your email box that you wanted to have happen and you've been part of creating it, you get your arms in the air and you go, yes, I did that.
Yes,
I did it. Yes,
I did it.
And it might be we did it and the team were involved but it's you as well. You put your energy behind it. And then if you've got space, do a lap of honor. I mean, literally get the victory sign out, lap of honor like an athlete.
And run round the room.
And run round the room. Run round the room or stomp round the room. Yeah. I love it. So that your body realizes that it's done good. And what that does is it gives you a boost, like an injection of dopamine and testosterone, which gives you the platform for confidence for the next difficult thing. And that might be speaking out, might be speaking out or truth telling to power or whatever it is. But unless you keep creating that platform of strength and this idea of achievement, your body will stop believing that that's what you believe, right?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great synergy. I love that. Oh my goodness. Have you got any other like lovely tricks like that or tips like that to show us physically?
I have. So yes, I thought, well, one thing's really what most people don't really realize is that like the heart and the gut are brains in their own right. Some of you may already know that, right? So in the heart are independent neurons in the tissue of the heart, independent neurons that are responsible for the release of oxytocin, which is our chemical for social bonding, trust, love, respect, joy in relationships. It's also released by the pituitary gland in the brain. It's a combination. And once you get that chemical oxytocin released, perhaps because you think about someone that you appreciate or you think about them warmly, and as soon as you think about them, you have an oxytocin release, which then there's a secondary chemical called nitric oxide. And that actually is designed to expand the tissues around the chest, the lungs, the heart. And we literally feel that our chest is swelling with pride or filled up with compassion or love. So it's actually literally happening. It's not just a feeling that sits in a sort of slightly responsive body. It's a tide of chemicals. And as soon as you know that, you can switch from high cortisol anxiety internal mode to a heart swelling, chest opening, breathed approach to life. So I thought we'd do an exercise that I call the Kate Winslet, right? So most people have seen the Titanic, Titanic the film. Kate Winslet's on the front of the bow of the ship, and Leonardo DiCaprio is holding her round the waist so she feels grounded and trusting. I'm going to turn to the side for this.
Yes, okay? Absolutely. I'm taking away the thing so we can see you a little bit better.
Pardon?
I've taken away the title so we can see.
Okay, great. So I'll just slightly stand up so you can see me. So what you do first is wrap in. So you close the body a little bit like you're in a brace position in an aeroplane.
Okay. Yeah.
Breathe into your back. And now what you're going to do is come up and then open the arms like you're on the front of that Titanic, like Kate Winslet.
Oh, I love that.
Stretch the arms back, chin up,
yeah.
Chest open, like you've got a string attached to your sternum and someone's pulling you open. And you breathe and just hang out there for a bit. Breathe. Think about your network of people that care about you and that you love. Imagine them there. And take this chemical boost, this oxytocin. A core part of our happiness is our social connections.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, you can come out of that. If you're still in it, stay there. You can still listen, right, while you stay there. So stay there as long as you like. So the body changes the emotions, changes the mind. The mind changes the emotions, changes the body. The emotions change the body, change the mind. We're absolutely intrinsically linked.
Yeah.
We're one being. And of course, the spirit's part of that as well.
Yeah. That was a wonderful exercise. I don't know how everybody else feels. Please let Claire know how you feel if you would like to type in the chat. You know, I when I did the opening and I felt the string coming out, I immediately felt this amazing stretch in my back. And I'd realised that where I've been locked in that part of my back, I didn't realise it. And then I come back to my breath and I just think, oh my gosh, I've got so much more space.
Yeah, more space. So literally, I'm working with people every day online, sometimes one-to-one, but big groups as well, increasingly. That is one that I do many times a day with people because we're all spending much more time at a screen, pulled towards our cameras, our screens, and it's closing in our chests. And just through that release, you can find that reboot. It's a reboot of.
Have you got one more?
Openness, connectivity.
Time for one more if you've got another one.
You've got time for one more. Great. Okay, so I think we have to just go to the breath, right? And again, remember I talked about the DHEA.
Yes.
Which is your fundamental performance enhancing steroid.
Yes.
So you do want to be spending part of your day, 10 minutes, somehow regular pacing your breath, focusing on that, whether you're out walking, whether you're sitting still. I sometimes even stack up some minutes while I'm running so that I'm aware that my breath is regular pacing. So that's the key. It doesn't always have to be sitting meditatively. But there's one of the features of boosting DHEA is also the space, the amount of breath that gets in to stimulate the vagus nerve.
Yes,
another story.
Nerve, that one.
Pardon?
Yeah, very important nerve, that one.
Right, so it stimulates the whole system that allows DHEA, serotonin, oxytocin, acetylcholine. These four chemicals are our parasympathetic nervous system operation. So the breath, but also the capacity for the breath. So what you can do is just take one arm into the air and then tip slightly over to the side.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right, take the other hand and then pat up and down the side of the body. You can let the head drop a little bit, jaw relaxes, and then rub vigorously. So you're rubbing all the intercostal areas open. Breathing, stretching. And then if you wish, just take a bit more of a stretch just to open up that intercostal. The intercostal muscles are the ones that surround the ribs. They case around the ribs to give them stability. Breathe. And then come up. Just relax for a minute, come to vertical. And just notice how one side of the body feels compared to the other.
Yeah.
Might need to readjust your clothing. But isn't it amazing? I mean, I'm hoping you feel that out there, all the listeners, that there's so much more space on that one side that you've just done that simple stretch in. And that is literally all the alveoli in the lungs just getting cleared out. They're getting full of air, and we're displacing carbon dioxide, which gets a little bit toxic. So let's do the other side. We want to even ourselves up. So patting up and down. Remember to drop your head and release your neck. Something funny happening in the sound there. A little bit of an extra stretch if you wish. And then coming up.
Oh, lovely.
Sometimes you need another little stretch on the first side again, just to balance it. And you should feel now that the ribs can swing out, let the lungs fill, and then settle back down again on the out breath. So swinging out like big bellows on the in breath and settling down. And as soon as you do that, you can find a better regular pacing of your breath.
Oh, that's wonderful. I really feel the difference in that. I really feel like I've got so much more expansion in my lung space, like because my ribs are more open. I wonder how everybody else is feeling. Please, 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 if you can, like let Claire know how you're feeling.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, that's just it's amazing. Wow, I'm grateful what I do, singing. So grateful what I do, like and opening that before we sing. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So Claire, thank you so much for like just walking us through that. Is there any kind of lasting thing that you would like to share with us before we kind of wrap up?
Maybe one very big picture thing that I'm thinking a lot and reading about a lot, thinking about a lot and reading about a lot at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important during this time when we're all sort of saying the world is different, it will never be the same, and we'll come out. Goodness knows what all of that means. But I do know, my sense is that the pace, progress, profit, technology, using technology for that kind of drive of pace is very much about our slightly overused dopaminergic function. The dopamine, that driving, the motivation, the pace, the reward. Do you get the feeling of that?
Yeah,
and we're slightly out of balance.
Sorry, Gabby's just saying fascinating to know the chemical connection, and Martin Stiles is saying I think I need about 30 years of practice. Wonderful.
Just do a few days, Martin, and then see how you feel, because it comes quite quickly. Because remember, your body wants to know these things. It wants it. Yeah.
Sorry,
so what we need to just to finish that, what we need to do is slightly rebalance the dopaminergic function with our oxytocinergic function. Right, this sense that whilst we progress, we are deeply connected with those people around us, and we make a circle of good ideas, collaboration, doing the right thing, and that's what moves us forward. We're not all charging forward on our own lines. We are connected and moving into a future in a connected way, so things are reciprocal, and we don't what's the word, draw resources when they're running from the world, when they're running out. We're actually putting back and taking, giving and receiving all the time. And of course there's an idealism about that, but I think it's really what we need to do. We need to find a political way of doing that.
But I think the thing isn't it clear that we are all energy, and so I know that we are all at home, but the thing is not to feel like we're stuck. And I think what you're kind of celebrating with us here today is the fact that we don't have to feel stuck, even in our own in our own homes, as well as moving the mind, which I'm really into. We can actually use the body to support that movement as well, and that forward thinking.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. And, you know, as I've said, here's the book, Physical Intelligence. It's by Claire Dale and Patricia Payton. And you can find it on Amazon. You can find it anywhere, can't you? Didn't you just win an award as well?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we won an award for the best business book 2020 in the personal development category. And it was announced an hour before, it was announced online an hour before Boris Johnson announced lockdown.
Oh, no.
It was a strange day.
Oh,
but it's been great to celebrate that through technology. And, you know, we've had almost more connection with people over it than we would have if we'd had a live gala dinner, you know.
Exactly.
It's been even bigger. So
where can people find you, Claire?
You can find the book Amazon and any bookstores. Go on their websites; they'll all have it.
Yeah.
You can connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter.
Yeah.
And I think we've got the Twitter handle on the flyer.
Yeah. So
and you can
at Claire Dale PL. The Claire is
PI.
PI.
Claire Dale PI.
Yeah.
Claire Dale PI.
Yeah, brilliant.
And you can also go to our company website, and there's the resources page, and there's a quiz you can take to find out how physically intelligent you already are and get a little report on that.
And so is that your company, Companies in Motion?
That's right, companiesinmotion.com. And you can have a good look around there. There are blogs and research and stuff. So.
Oh, brilliant. I'll put that all in the comments section. Claire, thank you so much. Everybody here, thank you so much for being with us once again this morning. Tomorrow I will have Marika Rauscher, who's an opera singer come crossover singer, talking about how she's had to bring her business online and how she's done that, and her work with choirs and other musicians. So that will be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that one. Claire, you've been amazing. These exercises are wonderful. Everybody here, thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing day. And I'm celebrating you all. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.